Welcome back to the Rondo. Tom, Raheem, you get 30 seconds to file your grievance. Raheem, what's on your mind? Timer starts now.
Pep Guardiola, stop trying to talk to other players from the opposing team after every game. I'm tired of it. You done it with Adama Traore. We get it. He can't finish. What are you whispering in his ear to the camera trying to show off? You always trying to look like the main character, bro. Like, let the players play. I seen him do it this past weekend against Brighton. He's chopping it up with the Brighton center back for like 5 minutes. And the center back's like, yo, bro, like, please, like, I get it. Like, can you please get away from me? And Pep's like, no, I'm trying to talk to you because you're very rough with Erling Haaland. And I don't like that because we just lost the game. Bro, we get it. You're an amazing manager. Let it go.
Tom, the timer starts now. You get 30 seconds. File your grievance.
I'm so sick of Arsenal. I am so sick of Arsenal. They have been in a title race for 2 and a bit seasons, and they still don't play like champions. Do you know what I mean? They're playing defensively so that, like, we can't lose. Play to win. Teams don't fear you. As a champion of the Premier League, teams should absolutely be scared shitless by what you have got to do. And I'm just sick of, like, all of that, and then the refs are against us mentality. They're just constantly on the defensive, and it's so annoying.
Raheem is sick.
Get a load
Sitting
of this
next to that. Hello and welcome back to the Rondo. Today we're going to be talking about Mbappe and his persistent struggles. USMNT look ahead to Nations League quarterfinals. Want to give a quick shout out to Brooklyn FC for hooking us up with these awesome kits, and a shout out to USL as they ramp up into their playoff and championship season. Let's get right into it. All right, so Kylian Mbappe having a little bit of a struggle right now. What's going on with Mbappe?
The internet's going to love me for this. I think Kylian Mbappe makes Real Madrid worse. I've, like, reached that point in my life where I can make that conclusion. It's pretty significant for me. But honestly, like, he just doesn't do any off-ball work whatsoever. And you can see his teammates getting physically angry with him. And at the end of the day, what separates a very good from an elite player is to be able to do the little things. And he doesn't do them. He's the same player at 25, 26 that he was at 19. And the football fan in me is just like, damn, man, like, be better. Like, fine margins, but I just think as a whole, Madrid suffer because of it.
I think obviously Kylian Mbappe is an amazing player, world-class player, but he just looks absolutely lost on Real Madrid. I just don't think he knows which runs to make, when to press. He doesn't know the pressure signals. He doesn't know exactly how to combine with the right teammates to get into positions to score. And you see Jude and Valverde doing a lot of work off the ball, kind of make up for that. For Kylian, only he knows what's going on with him mentally, and I hope everything's okay from that end. But from a standpoint of on-the-pitch production, it just hasn't been good enough.
So there are reports that Mbappe has fallen out with Deschamps and the France Football Federation. Is it an attitude problem with him?
I mean, it kind of always has been, right? But he landed himself in trouble the last international window, right, when he said, I only want to play in the games that matter. Which is, like, kind of messed up, man. Like, you either want to play for your country or you don't. He actually has now elected to not, and now he's been dropped. And to be honest, I think he deserves it.
And also, I think this is the first time in his career where he's genuinely faced these type of struggles. Like, at PSG, he was always that guy. Even with Messi and Neymar there, he was still kind of that guy within French football. So this is the first time we're going to see Kylian have to overcome these obstacles at Real Madrid. Vinny Jr. had to do it similarly. Same with Rodrigo. They played with Real Madrid B, Castilla, to get reps under their belt. Karim Benzema was yelling at Vinny Jr. when he first got there, said that, hey, man, he's playing against us. That was insane.
That was so funny.
So
yeah, that's crazy.
We'll see with Kylian. Also takes time to really just adjust to a new club. He's no longer that main guy, so you have to give him some time too.
But don't you think he maybe got away with it a little bit at PSG because, like, he was, like, so much bigger than the club? Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. At PSG could do whatever the hell you wanted. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted to show up at training but 1 minute before, they ain't going to say nothing. You know what I'm saying? That was his club. But now you're coming to Real Madrid, who have already won without you. Yeah. So it's one of those things. It's like, how do you make yourself feel valuable to the team instead of the other way around?
Yeah. I think they'll get it right. I honestly think there's a lot of parallels between this and what you see with the NBA and their, like, super teams. You had KD and Kyrie and all them team up in Brooklyn, and it just, like, didn't work out. So it's not always as easy as you'd think. You put all the 99 overall guys on one squad, it doesn't necessarily work out every time. We're on the brink of the first competitive USMNT games under Mauricio Pochettino as manager. What should the expectation be for the upcoming Nations League quarterfinal?
Man, you better win that. I'm Jamaican too, and I'm saying this. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jamaica, I love you, but at the end of the day, like, US with this program, what they're trying to build, the money that they're putting into Pochettino and this team, They should win on paper.
The U.S. men's national team has so much hope that Raheem is betraying his home country.
Listen, don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. Listen, I'm Jamaican true and true, boss. You know that.
I think you're at a point with like the USMNT where like, you know, that first camp was like whatever, let's get a style of play going, that kind of stuff. You got to win, and you really should beat Jamaica. I'm sorry, like, but if the whole thing is like we're going to make it to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, you have to beat pretty much everyone in CONCACAF that you play until then.
Generally speaking, not even specifically related to the Jamaica games, but for the USMNT in general, is the expectation that they have to win everything? Like when does disappointment start? What does a disappointing result look like?
I think we should just give Pochettino like 6 to 8 months, see his progress, and then take it from there. I'm not really taking into account any results for now, with him still trying to build out his system, figure out which players are going to be available for this system, because, you know, you got some injuries to Haji Wright, Josh Sargent, you know, players that you would expect for him to build on. So I'd say give him a couple months, man. See who's in camp. Let Tyler Adams come back healthy and fit. It's great to see him play 90 for AFC Bournemouth finally.
Yeah, true.
So just continue to like see how these players progress and keep on building your system, man, and take it from there. I'm not going to really judge anything right now.
Well, that's true. It's one thing that Poch said in his presser the other day, which I was on. He was like, after these games, I'm sitting down with the gang in January and we are just checking in. Like, how have we done? Where have we gone wrong? Where do we need to improve? That kind of thing. And he was like, that was always the deal. I was going to give myself 2 camps and then we're going to really lock in.
Christian Pulisic is having a world-class season at AC Milan. How does that form carry over to the U.S. men's national team?
Man, it's always going to carry on. I feel like Christian is the one. If there's one player that's going to produce for the USMNT, it's Mr. Pulisic himself, and you've seen it against Real Madrid. So he's producing at the highest level against the biggest teams in the world. And honestly, when he comes to the U.S. men's national team camp, I think he likes that pressure, that expectation. You know, he takes on that, you know, that belief and you know, really he puts the team on his back though, for real. Like that's the best way to put it. I've never really seen a match where Christian hasn't produced for the USMNT.
Yeah. I think it's funny is that for the US team, Christian Pulisic was showing what he couldn't at club level, and now he's doing the other way. Does that make sense? It's like we all knew this guy was pretty good. But then when he was kind of disappointing for Chelsea and whatever, he was still balling for the US. And then you were like, hang on, wait, that player's always been there. And now he's translated it. It's just a question of maintaining that level. The one issue is that he's got a better team around him at Milan than he does for the US. He's the star player, and he's got to play like it.
Now we're going to bring in Ryan Tolmick to talk about the U.S. men's national team's upcoming games versus Jamaica. All right, we are now joined by friend of the program, Goal USA's very own USMNT insider, Ryan Tolmick, to talk about the upcoming USMNT Nations League game versus Jamaica. Ryan, get right into it. Are these must-win games for the team and for Poch?
Absolutely. Realistically, these games are CONCACAF Nations League games, and everyone has their own thoughts about how this competition really matters in this region or doesn't matter or whatever. But at the end of the day, there's a bigger picture here. And that bigger picture is if you want to play big games in the spring, you have to win these big games right now. There's really an incentive here to go out and win it, because if you win this, you then get to play those heated games against a Mexico or a Canada or the ones that really test you. So this isn't a friendly. These are games with real stakes. These are games with a real prize at the end of it. So yeah, the U.S. does have to go out and win that. And if they don't, they're going to have to face some very real problems in terms of scheduling, in terms of getting meaningful minutes for guys, especially at the start of next year. Some
headlines this week with Tyler Adams being left out of the squad. Do you think leaving Tyler Adams out was the right decision?
Yeah, I think it's something they had to do. It stinks because, like we said, these are must-win games. These are games that matter. They're games with something real. But at the end of the day, there is also a bigger picture. Tyler Adams needs to be healthy for 2026. And right now there's a year and a half until that. And Tyler Adams has spent most of the last 2 years injured and rehabbing and getting re-injured and re-rehabbing. And there isn't much more time for that. Tyler Adams, to his credit, has rushed back a few times to be there for the team. Copa America is an example. He's gotten back and his competitiveness has taken over. But right now, it's very important for him to do things the right way. So it was a decision that stinks, but it's one that really had to be made, unfortunately.
Jamaica as a federation, much maligned and a little controversial over the past year. You have players refusing to play for the team, complaining about the state of their hotels where they're staying, not being paid on time. Put all of that to the side. Who do you think Jamaica's biggest threat is on the field for these upcoming games?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that just because it feels like so often that Jamaica has been their own worst enemy. in terms of putting everything together, because you look at the pieces they have in the squad and there's so many good players with Premier League experience, players with MLS experience, players that like should realistically be going out and contending for things in this region. But it hasn't worked because of those disputes. And the guy who's been kind of at the center of those disputes a lot has been Leon Bailey, who is also this team's best player. You know, he's the guy who plays at the highest level in the Premier League, and they haven't always had him because of those disputes. And that really does bring the level of the team down. He's back now. It seems he's bought in. It seems he's committed and ready to go for World Cup. And that's a huge thing. That is a very big get for Jamaica, because he is the type of guy who can go out and win you games.
The goalkeeper spot, traditionally a strong point for the USMNT, maybe a little shaky over the past couple years. Is that a point of concern for Pochettino?
Oh, absolutely. You know, like you said, it is something that the U.S. has done well throughout the years. And you look at, you know, we'll use Tim Howard as an example of a goalkeeper that could go out and single-handedly keep you in games and also sometimes single-handedly win you games. You know, you saw Brad Guzan just do it for Atlanta United against Inter Miami, and that's the importance of a goalkeeper. Now, that's nice. You know, that's great if you have a goalkeeper that can win you a game, but you need to at least have one that can keep you in it. And the U.S. needs to find that guy right now. Every goalkeeper in camp has a positive or negative. You know, Matt Turner's the guy, but he's not really playing. Patrick Schulte has shown promise, but he still needs a little bit more seasoning. Gaga Slonino, Diego Cochin, like those are guys who are very young and getting better, but they don't have that experience or that professional experience in particular, or that international experience. So there's really not much trust you can have in them just yet to shine at that level. So that's what Pochettino needs to figure out is, all right, which of these guys can keep me in games?
Hindle made a really good point just now that we were talking about, where Pulisic's form at AC Milan right now is world class. There's less pressure on him to be that guy at Milan because he's surrounded by so much other attacking talent. Who do you think needs to step up on the USMNT to kind of give him that same level of comfort where he doesn't have to be carrying the team at all times and he can play as part of a system rather than just trying to do everything himself?
I think that's one of the things, like you said, that's really, in credit to Tom here, has benefited him, is being able to do things somewhat by committee, but also kind of being the leader of that committee. And that's something he hasn't always had the luxury of with the U.S., but you look at the pieces around him, and while there may not be a Rafael Leao in this camp, like there are talented players that not only can benefit from having Christian playing at the level he's at, but also help Christian benefit by reaching a new level of their own. So if all the attention's on Christian Pulisic, how does that benefit Tim Weah? How does that benefit Ricardo Pepi or Folarin Balogun when he's healthy, or Josh Sargent? You know, what kind of doors does that open for them, and can they run through those doors? Because if they do, then that opens more for Pulisic. So I think that's the thing, and it's great that Pulisic's playing at the level he is. Like you said, he's one of the top few wingers in the world, and all eyes will be on him. And for many people, that'll be a blessing because it'll mean the eyes aren't on them. So how do they respond to that? How do they take advantage of it? And ultimately, how does the U.S. get better because of it?
What do you think Pochettino would classify as a successful camp?
I mean, we talked about it earlier. It's got to be just winning. Realistically, at the end of the day, you have to win these games. You know, there was time for experimentation and fun and trying new things last camp as everyone adjusted to everything. But these are real games with real stakes and a real opportunity at the end of them. You know, it's great if guys go out and play good minutes, or if a new guy puts on a good showing, like that's fantastic. Ideal, we would love that. But realistically, if there's no wind at the end of it, none of it matters.
Brian, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for sharing your ball knowledge with us.
Nah, thanks for having me.
We're going to play a classic from our friends over at Give and Go on Goal. It's going to be Footie Feud, guys. So you've watched Family Feud. You're familiar. Are you guys ready? Lock in. Our first category.
Go on.
The biggest stadiums by capacity in the EFL. So League One, League Two, Championship, Premier League not included. We got 5 on the board. You got 3 strikes. Who are we feeling? Biggest stadiums in the EFL.
Okay, so Raheem was literally just there, so I reckon you have a good shot. I think I know number 1.
Stadium of Light.
Yeah. So number 1, Stadium of Light.
Stadium of Light is the biggest stadium in the EFL, 48,000 capacity.
So what about Sheffield Wednesday Stadium? Sheffield Wednesday Stadium?
Sheffield Wednesday, are they on the board? Yes, Hillsborough. 3rd biggest stadium in the EFL, 34.9K.
Ellen Road for Leeds.
Ellen Road Leeds?
Yeah.
Is Ellen Road on the board? Oh, yeah. Number 2, 2nd biggest stadium by capacity.
So
they got 37K.
So you got, I'd guess, Sheffield United Stadium, maybe?
What about Middlesbrough?
Ooh.
Middlesbrough?
Go on.
Logging it in.
Lock it
Middlesbrough.
in.
Yeah, they're on the board. 4th biggest, 33.9K capacity. All right, you guys are smashing it on this one. You got 1 left. The 5th biggest stadium in EFL.
Plymouth?
Plymouth? I trust you.
You locking in home park, Plymouth?
Try Plymouth.
Nope, strike one. Plymouth is not up there.
So we got one more.
You got one more. You got 2 strikes to get one more.
Have we said the Sheffield United one?
No, we should Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, so Sheffield United gone.
Oh, you guys started off so hot.
Go.
Guys, you got one guess left.
All right. Let's think.
QPR Stadium not that big, right?
Nah, banger ground.
It's supposed to be a great place to watch football.
Yeah, it really was.
Swansea?
Yeah, it might be one of the or Cardiff.
Swansea or Cardiff?
I think it's one of them joints.
I like Cardiff.
I think it might be Cardiff, bro.
Locking Cardiff in?
Yeah.
Go on.
Guys, the 5th biggest stadium in the EFL is Cardiff City Stadium. Yeah.
Come on, lad.
Buzzer beater, 33.2K capacity. Yeah. Okay, this determines if this was a success or not.
Okay.
Go on.
On the board, top 5 most expensive transfers ever.
Ooh, I got this.
Go on.
Ousmane Dembele.
Ousmane Dembele is the 4th most expensive transfer ever to Barcelona.
Felipe Coutinho.
Yeah.
Felipe Coutinho.
Coutinho is the 3rd most expensive transfer ever. Yep.
It's all Barca.
Yeah, it is.
Neymar.
Which one?
To PSG.
Neymar to PSG is the most expensive transfer ever.
Yeah.
Yep, 222 million pounds.
Nah, I don't think.
Pogba's out now.
No, I don't. I think he's been booted, isn't he? I think Neymar to
Declan Rice.
Caicedo was more expensive than Rice.
Didn't say it.
I don't know.
Then say that.
Didn't say that.
Then say that.
No.
You guys are off to a good start.
Before, I'm gonna go Neymar to Saudi.
Neymar to Saudi is not on the
so.
board. That is your first strike.
What about Jude?
Why would I say that? He wasn't that expensive. Rice and Caicedo were both more expensive than Jude.
Okay, so what about Declan Rice?
You locking it in?
I'd go Caicedo ahead of Rice.
Caicedo. Is he on the
Caicedo.
board? Let's consult.
Yeah.
You guys got strike 2, man. You got off to a good start, but you have one wrong answer left.
How many people we got left?
Let me read them out. Neymar is the 1st most expensive. Coutinho is the 3rd, and Dembele is the 4th. So you need the 2nd most expensive transfer ever and the 5th most expensive
Do you know
transfer
what?
ever.
The second.
And you got one shot to get
Do you
both
know
of
what?
them.
Is it Gareth Bale?
No, but Joao Felix.
Oh, you're right. Go ahead, say that.
Go on, Joao Felix.
Joao Felix.
Go on.
Is he on the board? He is the 5th most expensive transfer
let's
ever.
go.
You got one left. The 2nd most expensive transfer ever. You got one shot.
So Coutinho's like 130 mil or
Yeah,
something
bro.
stupid. So who was dumb enough to pay more for a player than that?
I'm not going to give you a hint, but what I am going to say is if you don't get it, you're going to feel really, really stupid.
Bro, what?
Okay. It won't be.
not early.
It's not going to be Premier League.
It's not Premier League.
It's not Premier League. Is
So
it?
it's La Liga?
Oh, it's Mbappe to PSG.
Yeah, it is Mbappe to PSG. Yeah. Number 2 most expensive transfer
Is it
ever.
180 mil as well?
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, it was in 18, 19.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, hey, congratulations.
I
We'll give
like
that as a dub for you in the first round of Rondo.
Yo, that
Footie.
shit had me thinking.
Oh.
I was lost. I was going to say Declan Rice, fam.
All right, so now it's time for another Rondo Classic segment, foul or play on. We got 2 examples today. The first one, foul or play on. Liverpool will win the Premier League.
Play on, but like while actually myself. I think the funny thing is, I don't think anyone expected Arne Slot to be as good of a manager as he has ended up being.
Yeah, they're
I
turning
think Liverpool are playing a new style. They're controlling games. They're making this all look reasonably easy. But I think more than anything, they benefited from the fact that the teams around them haven't been very good either. I think had City been their usual selves, had Arsenal, then we might be in a spot where there's some pressure on Liverpool. But I don't think there's much pressure on them at the moment. So I think they actually might do it.
Yeah, Raheem, Liverpool win the
Man,
league.
This
Foul
guy
or play
Tom
on.
just want to shit on my team every time. you good?
I'm fine, mate. I'm feeling
Nah.
great.
Could Liverpool win the league? Honestly, I think they can, man. I'm going to say play on. Listen, they have the depth moving forward. Mo Salah's going Mo Salah. You know, you saw him 32, 33 years old, forcing turnovers this past weekend. Both of them led to goals. He chipped the goalie beautifully against Aston Villa this weekend. Honestly, man, they can win the league for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm rocking with that. It's we've seen it over the past couple of seasons with the title race where unless you play perfectly, you don't really have a shot.
Yeah.
And City's not playing perfectly. Arsenal's not playing perfectly either. Far from it, right?
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to watch this quick clip of Thierry Henry talking to Christian Pulisic after the Milan Champions League game last week.
Run the clip.
I have something to say. I've been saying for a very long time that people were asking me what you need to do to play and perform. And I always said that it's on you to show people what you need to do. And right now, you are doing that every week. So play with your chest out because you're doing really well. And now we can talk about what you're doing because you are doing it more often than not. So well done.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Thierry.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Thierry.
Appreciate that, Terry.
All right, so Pulisic has the talent to be a top 5 winger in the world. Foul or play on, his confidence holds him back from doing that consistently.
Play on. I don't think he's quite there yet. But the funniest thing about that clip at all is a little, I appreciate that, Thierry. And I think, but no, not to intellectualize like a dorky comment, but I think that is part of the point. Like, you'll know when Christian Pulisic is beyond world class when he's like, cheers, Thierry. Well, he'll never say cheers, will he? But you know what I mean? Like, when he still seems like he's a little bit of like that shy, awkward kid from Pennsylvania. And that's kind of the charm. But I think maybe just a bit of, what was it that you always say, Corbin? It's the I'm him.
Yeah, you got to have that mentality.
And
man.
he isn't him.
You got to believe that
consistently.
you got to believe that you're better than everybody else because everyone else probably is a little unhinged and believes that about themselves.
Yeah,
so.
people are crazy.
Raheem, what do you think? Foul or play on?
I think the first step for him to realize that is to just be the best winger on his team to other people's perception,
True.
better than Rafael Leao, right? And obviously he's been playing well enough this season that you could borderline say that, but I think people would just say Rafa's, has that little bit of edge for him just because of that attitude, that mentality. I think Rafa just, even though on the pitch sometimes he looks a little lazy, but it's like he still has that attitude of like, yo, if I'm going to get the ball and there's a defender 1v1, I'm going to turn up.
Yeah.
Like, I think Christian needs to have that more fear factor. Like, yo, if I'm going against you, like, I'm going against you every single time. I'm going to beat you every time. That mentality, if he had a little bit more of that edge on him, I think it would help a lot.
That was another episode of the Rondo presented by Goal USA. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment if you disagree with these guys' questionable ball knowledge. And we'll see you next week.